You're listening to Head to Head, a Star Wars podcast. Two fans, two generations, all things Star Wars begins now.
All right, well, hello everybody, and welcome to Monday's episode of Head to Head, a Star Wars show. As you can plainly see, it's just going to be me today. So instead of just being trapped in a box or whatever, I thought, hey, why not? I'm going to give you guys full screen me, at least for some of the show today. We got a good one for you. We're going to be talking about really an interesting subject because there's so many things that came out today about what we could talk about. You know, I mean, there's everything from a bunch of Andor news to, I mean, you name it, it came out this week. So we had a really difficult time trying to figure out what is it that we're going to talk about today. And of course, what we chose was the top 5 Disney Plus Day announcement predictions. So we went through, and there's a site that we get a lot of news from called thedirect.com, and they put out this list, which, of course, you know, we're going to go through a little bit. And, of course, you know, I mean, because hopefully you guys are pretty active in the chats today. I don't know. Again, Daryl couldn't really make it at the last minute, so once again, I'm just kind of trying to carry the show here. Again, normally, if you guys are new, this is a 2-person discussion show. And then, of course, we have our entire community of people who actually chat as well. And hopefully you guys will be there tonight to help me carry me through this. But there's actually been a lot. So the whole Disney Plus Day is actually going to be on September 8th. It's going to be part of D23. And so obviously, there's a lot of Star Wars stuff that's going to actually be a part of this. And so, you know how it goes. And of course, where people are coming already, we got Voyager, Darth Maul voice, Daryl. Yes, well, you know, I know he's had some power issues. He's also working on, you know, editing photos for some other project that he's doing. So, yeah, it just wasn't feasible for him to make it today. But you guys have me, right? I'm the host. At least I'm one of them. All right. So let's get into this. Disney Plus Day. All right. What can we expect to see on Disney Plus Day? Obviously, there's going to be a lot of shows that are coming up, and a lot of them are in a state of flux. And I want to hear from you guys what you actually think of this whole Disney Plus schedule that's coming out. I definitely want to hear from you guys on this because, again, there's a lot to digest here. So, like I said, getting right into it. First thing that we got is, of course, Andor footage. I think that it goes without saying that we're probably going to get some Andor footage from this. Now, we've gotten some trailers, right? We got the teaser trailer, and then we got a full trailer, and we had some stuff that was actually premiering at Star Wars Celebration. But again, we're 3 months out of Star Wars Celebration. Andor is actually going to be premiering within, I don't know, the next month or so. So it's September 23rd, I think. I don't know. It's either the 21st or 23rd. But the point is, Andor's coming. Another thing that's worth noting is right now in theaters, and I think it's only for a week, Rogue One has been re-released in IMAX. And what's happening there is that, Voyager says September 21st. Thank you. Thank you. September 21st. So September 21st, we're getting Andor. And then, of course, right now in theaters, they re-release Rogue One in IMAX. And there's some behind-the-scenes stuff or something to do with the whole Andor series. So personally, I'm hoping that we do get a little bit more Andor footage because I think that even though we have a little bit of the tone, and again, if you guys missed it, we just did this past Friday, a few days ago, we did a whole show, Daryl and I, discussing how Andor actually went from 5 seasons down to 2 seasons. So if you missed that, not yet, Wait till this video's over. But afterwards, you're going to want to check that out because there was a lot of Andor stuff that was featured in that. And I think that there's a lot of stuff that Tony Gilroy had said that I think is really going to inform this series. But that said, I think that there's still a lot of room for even more. Because right now, as I said before, I think that this is probably, I'm not going to say definitely yet, because again, I need to see the first 3 episodes of this show. But I'm thinking that this is more than likely going to be the most cinematic of all the Disney Plus shows. It looks like they actually spent some money on this one. So I personally am really looking forward to seeing what they are going to do with Andor. Then the next thing is, of course, The Bad Batch Season 2. Right? So The Bad Batch Season 2 was almost going to be the subject of actually one of our shows, because this thing has been somewhat in flux. You know, with The Bad Batch, it's been a little strange because, you know, they basically have moved it around. I mean, they said that they were going to put it out, I think earlier this year, like in April or something like that, or maybe even February. And then, of course, they went back on that, right? So I got the direct.com article up here, but we really, we got a little bit of a trailer and we got a teaser and all this other stuff, but I think we're really due for an update on this show. There have been rumors that it's going to actually be moved, right? It was on the release schedule, I think for September, and then it was taken off, and it's nowhere to be found again. And so a lot of people are worried about, you know, what's going on with this show. What's happening with it? Is it going to come out this year? Is it just not being moved? Or, you know, was it taken off of the schedule, but it's still going to premiere when it's supposed to? And, of course, the other question you have to ask yourself is, why? Why is there such a delay in this? You know, if you think about it, obviously the show is done. Why don't they just release it? So I think that there's a lot of questions when it comes to The Bad Batch Season 2. I mean, personally, I really love Season 1. I've said this a million times that I think that it's really featuring the most interesting part of the Empire. It's really when the Republic first fell, they kind of turned into the Empire. It's the very beginning of the Empire. People are starting to get used to the fact that, hey, this government's not quite like it was. Because, and I've said this on a million shows, a lot of people forget that the Empire essentially is the legitimate government. It was basically the Republic. Palpatine was the Supreme Chancellor, and he just kind of morphed it from the Republic, seized absolute power, essentially, and it became the Empire. But to a large part of the citizenry of the galaxy, you know, this is really a good thing to them. You get peace, you get security, and that's basically what they were pretty much promoting. They're saying, look, you know, if you basically follow us, everything is going to be fine. You know, it's going to be prosperity. There's going to be peace. You don't have to worry about it. But what they didn't realize was some of the atrocities that the Empire was perpetrating on a lot of the citizens, right? So The Bad Batch explores a little bit of this, because what's exciting about it is that you get to see it through these former clones. Well, they're not really former clones, but they were basically part of the clone army who are now being converted to stormtroopers. And they dealt with some of that. And I thought that the themes that are being explored in this show are extremely good. Extremely good. I think that it's something that I'm really looking forward to Season 2. I'm sure you guys are all looking forward to Season 2. The question is, when are they going to premiere Season 2? And so I think it's really important for Lucasfilm to say, hey, this is what's going on with The Bad Batch Season 2. This is when we're going to release it. And let it come out. So, again, I think that there's a lot more to explore. I really don't know how many seasons they're going to go. That is really interesting to me as well, is I don't really know, is this going to be a show that goes on for 5, 6, 7 seasons? Is it going to be a little bit more similar to Rebels, which is like, 4 seasons? What's it going to do? But again, if you guys are looking forward to the Bad Batch, leave that in the comments section below. And hey, even though this show is a little bit different than our normal shows, if you guys are enjoying it, if you feel any kind of empathy toward me at all for having to do this one solo, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We got a lot of content. I actually am thinking about, by the way, this is kind of a digression. I'm thinking about doing some YouTube shorts. I'm thinking of actually using YouTube shorts as a way to get more content out to you guys, because I think that might be a really cool way of maybe dealing with some really quick things, quick news items, maybe really quick character analysis or something like that. Something to get a lot more content out to you guys. So be sure you guys let us know what you think of that idea in the comment section. Of course, we're always going to be here. We're always going to be streaming live every Monday, every Friday at 8 o'clock. That's definitely not going to change. But, it's one of those things that we really do want to get some more stuff out to you guys. And if you join the whole buymeacoffee.com program that we got going on, Buy Me a Blue Milk, you can make a one-time donation. You can support us monthly. There's already some people that do that, which we deeply appreciate. And there are some packages that you can take advantage of, which we're getting ready. But anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program. The commercial, the plug is done. The next thing that we expect to see announced at D23 on Disney Plus Day. Now, again, nothing is guaranteed. We really don't know. This is all speculation. And actually, this is something that, again, much like what we all do in our normal lives, you read some Star Wars news or something like that, and you discuss it with your friends. And that's really what this program is all about. This show is all about everybody just from all over the world coming together and having a good, safe space to discuss all things Star Wars. So with that, our next prediction, coming from thedirect.com, is we should be seeing something from the Tales of the Jedi animated series. Now, this series is really interesting. To be honest, I haven't really read a whole lot about this. I don't know if it's because there's not a whole lot of information out there, or if it's just, I don't know, I just haven't seen it. But for whatever reason, I think it's getting to be about that time that we need to see a trailer for this show. And I think that there's a really good possibility that could happen. It was basically an anthology of, I don't know, like 6 shorts or something that's going to happen. And you know what it kind of reminds me of? And I forgot the guy's name, but it's the dude that actually did the original Clone Wars shorts. Now, I don't think they're going to be that short, because those things were only like a couple of minutes long or something like that. But this could actually be kind of cool, and they could do some stuff. Now, there was a trailer, and I think they even put one of the episodes up at Celebration. One of these days, I swear I'm going to get to Celebration. I really want to go to that, but I think they did. I think they actually did something at Celebration with it, where they showed the trailer or something like that, and it started to generate a lot of buzz. So I think that we need to see a new trailer, some new information coming out of it. This would be a really good way to get fans excited about this project. Because if you start seeing Ahsoka, Dooku, Qui-Gon, maybe some Obi-Wan, I mean, you can capitalize on the peripheral shows you got going on, right? Because you just had the Obi-Wan series. And I think that it would be really cool if maybe this is a nice companion to it. Now, again, a lot of people thought that Filoni's next project was going to be a sequel to Rebels. I think people thought that, okay, when he does another animated thing, it's going to be a sequel to Rebels. And people were actually disappointed when they saw that it was going to be this Tales of the Jedi thing. For me personally, I think that this is a really great idea. Number one, Ahsoka, which, spoiler alert, is on the list. So basically, I think what's going to happen is Ahsoka is going to more or less serve as a sequel to Rebels. And then what you're going to get is you're going to get this Tales of the Jedi show, which will allow Filoni to get a little bit deeper into some of the Star Wars lore and things like that. He does a really good job of explaining Star Wars, explaining the Force. We've done a couple of shows on it. Anytime that we do anything about Filoni, it ends up being one of our top-rated shows or something. So, I don't know. Maybe that means we should just be talking about Dave Filoni all the time. But either way, I think that that's something that we can expect to see that will be really interesting. Again, I think that even though some people think that this time period has been overdone, we don't need to see anything in between episodes 2 and 3. I think people are starting to tire of projects that are happening between episodes 3 and 4. Although I will maintain, just like I said with the Bad Batch, I think that you could still explore a lot of stuff that happened pretty much immediately after episode 3. See, the problem is whenever they focus on episodes, on anything between episode 3 and 4, it's usually closer to 4. I mean, Obi-Wan actually is pretty much dead set in the middle. And that was pretty interesting. So, again, I'm really looking forward to the Tales of the Jedi series. Well, what about you guys? Are you guys looking forward to this one? Do you think, I don't know, maybe we can pass on it? Again, leave a comment. We would love to discuss it with you guys. All right. Now, of course, Ahsoka, right? We definitely need to see Ahsoka. At least, and when I say we need to see Ahsoka, I don't mean that we necessarily just need to see Ahsoka. I mean, we need to see a little bit more information on it. Because again, excuse me, they basically have shown a trailer, a teaser trailer, at Celebration. The rest of the world didn't really get to see it. We talked about it. We showed some scenes from it. But pretty much, the only thing that we've ever seen from this show is just this really horrible bootleg, people, shooting the screen at Celebration or whatever. They need to release a proper trailer for this thing. I think that there's a good chance, again, I don't have any inside information on this whatsoever, but I do think that there's a good chance that we might actually see something. It could be any kind of news, right? Just any Ahsoka-based thing. Are we going to get maybe some new casting announcements? Are we going to get new character reveals? Do we actually get the teaser trailer that they showed at Celebration, but we get it officially? Or, better yet, do we get another trailer? The reason why I think that we're not going to get a lot from Ahsoka is because it is still in production. And the other problem, too, is that I think that Filoni and the group are going to be a little bit more focused on The Mandalorian Season 3. Because we know that The Mandalorian is coming up in February. And it's probably going to be a little bit before we get Ahsoka. Now, if you guys remember when we did the whole predictions of all the Star Wars projects in 2022, we actually said that we thought we might get Ahsoka pretty much around this time period. In fact, we thought that maybe The Mandalorian was going to come in December. We didn't know they were going to push it into 2023. And we thought maybe Ahsoka would come around October. But that's because we also thought that Andor was going to be earlier. So it's really interesting to see what they're doing with a lot of these projects. I think one of the things that you have to look at when you're looking at anything Star Wars is that you have to remember it's very fluid. I don't think that you can sit there and put anything set in stone, really. I just think that they don't even know half the time. Let's see. Voyager basically says here, I really want to see Natasha Liu Bordizzo's purple hair. And what's funny is they showed that a little bit. Let me get this back up here. They showed her a little bit in the teaser trailer for this, but again, there just wasn't any really good, clear copy of the thing. And I was really trying to see if I can figure something out or find something or whatever, but nothing really popped out. And then, of course, if you guys remember when we actually did the Mandalorian Season 3 trailer, which, of course, was also only shown at Celebration and was also only people shooting with their cameras or, their phones or whatever, it just wasn't the best. And, of course, we got a copyright hit for that, and they took it down, and we had to edit it a little bit. And miraculously, if you guys go back and watch it, it's still pretty much intact. I mean, you can go back and check out our whole reaction and review of the Mandalorian Season 3 trailer. And in fact, I encourage you guys to do so because, number one, I would love to know what you all think of that. But secondly, I think that a lot of what happens in the Mandalorian Season 3 is going to inform what happens in Ahsoka. I think that they're going to be tied together. So we have to definitely watch and see what happens there. But Ahsoka, again, Ahsoka is kind of an interesting thing because I think we think that it's further along than it really is. It's been in production for a while. It has. But on the other hand, it's not as far along as I think people think it is, only because we've heard about it so much. We knew that Ahsoka was going to eventually end up in the Mandalorian series. And then we knew that we were going to get some sort of a, like a standalone series or something. I was going to say it was either a standalone series or she was going to be featured heavily in a lot of other series. But everybody was like, okay, definitely standalone. And so I think there really is a good opportunity here for them to explore not only some more themes that are introduced in The Mandalorian, but also, like I said before, I really think that this is going to be a sequel to Rebels. And so I think that Ahsoka, again, I think that they're not as far along as we think. And so I don't really know how much we're going to get as far as footage. Again, I think they could at least give us the teaser trailer that they showed at Celebration and make it official and put it out. That would be great. I would love to do an actual reaction on the teaser trailer. For real. Not some fuzzy, weird bootleg copy of it. That'd be wonderful. But, it's Star Wars. You guys know how Star Wars, Lucasfilm, they're getting to the point now where they do some things right, but, it's like one step forward, two steps back. Who knows? Who knows what's going on? And then, of course, finally, the last thing that we really need to see here is the Acolyte. The Acolyte is probably something that we know the least about. Now, let me go into this article here because I want to actually spend a little bit of time on the Acolyte. So Leslie Headland's people are still in the middle of pre-production. So principal photography on this is supposed to hit like around October, what does it say? October and go through May. Which actually, if you think about it, that's a long time. Usually principal photography can last like a month or two, but they're pretty much going from October through May. So this is going to be a big thing. But here's the problem. If that's the case, and they're basically doing principal photography from October of 22 to May of 23, more than likely we're not going to see the show until 2024. Now, for me personally, I understand, and don't get me wrong, I want them to take time. Please take the time you need to make the show good. But at the same time, I have to tell you guys, this is probably one of the shows I'm looking forward to the most. I am really amped up to see what they do with the Acolyte. Let's see. So the first major piece of news for the show dropped during Comic-Con when it was announced that Amanda Stenberg will be playing the series lead. Okay, see, I missed that. Oh, man, Star Wars, you guys. Casting has been underway for several months. They got a bunch of different demographics that they're looking for, so I don't know. Roll the dice to take your shot if you want to go. So it's possible that Hedlund and Stenberg will present the Acolyte in some fashion at D23. Still a bit early in the game because they don't even have any stills. And that's the thing that's really interesting is that this is why I say we could probably get some news from the Acolyte, but I don't think we're going to get anything of any real substance. There's not going to be any production stills. There's not going to be any footage, certainly, because they haven't even really started shooting yet. What they could do, though, is they could do what they did. I'm trying to remember what series this was. I want to say maybe it was Visions, actually, where they started giving us some of the concept art in order to get us somewhat pumped up and excited about it. They could release some concept art and just say, look, this is what we're thinking of. This is where we're going to go. But I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things that The Acolyte is one of those shows that it's way out in the periphery, right? It's not quite as bad as something like Lando, where it was mentioned once and, you know, now it's basically almost mythical at this point. So The Acolyte has some movement, has people attached to it, but yet it still seems like this one's going to be quite a bit of, it's going to be a little bit away, so we'll have to see. Okay. So basically, they say it's a bit early in the game. A mention of the show, among others, on Lucasfilm's slate is more likely. Yep. Leaving Disney Plus Day is a perfect time to announce a few more cast members. That would be good, too. If they're going to be starting principal photography in October, and it's pretty much the end of August right now, I think there's a good chance that they have at least the core cast members in place, which means maybe they can introduce them to us. Maybe they can give us a little bit of an idea of the characters. Again, we know this is taking place toward the tail end of the High Republic era, but we have no idea at all anything as far as plot or the overall tone of the show. We know it's going to be dark. We know it's going to be a little bit almost noirish, I guess. So they're saying, should the October start date for the production stick? Lucasfilm likely has a good idea for the time frame. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. And again, you know, Disney Plus Day is going to arrive pretty much in a few weeks. I mean, it's coming on Thursday, September 8th, so we're going to have to see what happens. Again, we're going to follow this one pretty closely. We're going to essentially keep our eyes out for a lot of different things. I mean, again, this past Monday, we basically talked about how the Andor series was being knocked down from 5 seasons to 2 seasons. And honestly, when Daryl first actually sent that to me, that was the first I had heard of it. I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know Tony Gilroy was involved. I thought it was going to be Gareth Edwards. It makes sense. Gilroy was the one that basically did a bunch of reshoots and punched up the series or the movie a little bit. But again, they're constantly, things just seem to be in a state of flux, and they're not doing what I think they should do, in the sense of, with Marvel, you know what you're getting and when you're getting it. And it's planned out that far in advance. It seems like the Star Wars shows are a little bit more fluid. Some have a hard release date, like the September 21st date for Andor, but others, it's like, well, it's going to be in, like The Mandalorian, it's going to be in February of 2023. And then you have Ahsoka, which will probably premiere sometime in 2023. It's like, well, okay. I guess I understand, but at the same time, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what to think, because I don't know where they're going with all this stuff. And they have all these different conventions and things like that that they can announce, but a lot of times, to be honest, I don't know if I believe them. Let's see what Voyager has to say here. He says, I'm hoping they'll announce Kenobi Season 2 on Disney Plus Day, but I don't think they will. That's a good point, actually, because Kenobi is rumored to have a Season 2, but we don't have any concrete evidence. There's been no announcements. They did accidentally let slip that we're going to get a Book of Boba Fett Season 2, but nothing on the Obi-Wan series. Although, again, that would actually be something that you don't know. You know, you really don't. Matt K says, Disney needs to work on communication. You know what? I'm not even going to start on that one. If they change plans, like when they changed Andor's release date, they need to tell us why. Leaving the fan base guessing isn't a good look. That's actually a really strong point that I'm going to get to in a second. Voyager says, I saw the extended Andor preview at Rogue One IMAX re-release. You know, I almost went and saw it last night. I was so close. I was like this close to doing it. Instead, my friends wanted to see Nope because it was like a time thing more than anything else. But I definitely want to see it. And I think they should release it on Disney Plus Day for everyone. Yeah, well, that's something that I definitely agree with, too, is that it should just be in wide release. And this goes back to Matt's point. Disney is just, they're terrible at communication. And really, more specifically, the Star Wars Lucasfilm side of it. Because with Marvel tends to be fairly decent, right? Here's your phases. Here's the movies that are going to be in this phase. Here's all the Disney Plus shows that are kind of around that and that are going to introduce things. There just seems to be more of a plan there. With Star Wars, you never know what's going on. Like, where's Lando? They made this big deal about all these shows that were coming out, and Lando was a big one. And that was kind of a weird one. I don't even know what that was, right? But since then, you've heard nothing from it. And now, like I said, they've taken the Bad Batch off of their release schedule. I don't know if that's, nobody really is saying what that means. Does that mean it's not going to be released like it was supposed to? Has it been moved? Because it's not on the 2022 release schedule, but it used to be. In fact, it was like a couple of weeks ago, and then all of a sudden it was taken off. So I don't know. Who knows what's going on with these guys? But all I can say is Disney Plus Day is coming up on September 8th. We're going to follow this closely. We're going to see what's going on. We'll probably actually report on, let's see, that's going to be on a Thursday. So maybe for Friday's show. Although, it's going to be tough, man, because, Friday, September 9th, that's when Cobra Kai comes out. And I know Daryl and I will probably be watching that one together. So there is a chance we might actually have to do a pre-recorded show that day. But either way, we're going to definitely, maybe that Monday we'll do kind of a Disney Plus Day wrap-up or something. But I don't know. But hopefully they work this stuff out and that all this stuff continues on and is on track. I think one of the things that we can be thankful of is at least they're planning stuff now. Their communication is terrible, yes. You will not hear anybody debate that. But at least it seems like they're starting to try to actually plan things out, and as a result, the projects are getting better. So all we can do is hope. So again, let me know what you guys are thinking of everything that we covered here. Which one of those shows of the 5, we had the Bad Batch Season 2, we have Andor, we have Tales of the Jedi, we have Ahsoka, and then, of course, we have The Acolyte. So which one of those shows are you looking the most forward to seeing? Drop that in the comment section for me. And hey, while you're there, might as well hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, because you guys are going to want to find out when we're putting stuff out. Although, every Monday, every Friday, 8 o'clock, we live stream. We're not able to live stream for whatever reason. Sometimes we might have to go on a little later. but there'll be a pre-recorded show. Either way, you guys are going to have something to watch on Mondays and Fridays. And then, of course, if you guys want to donate to the show, help us out a little bit, there's a link in the description below for the buymeacoffee.com program that we're a part of. We got some packages if you want to do a monthly support thing. So, again, whatever you guys want to do, we're just happy that you're with us, watching, chatting, commenting. And so, Daryl's not here for me to say, hey, do we know what we're talking about Friday? And I actually don't. So you guys are just going to have to wait until Friday to see what we cook up for you guys. So again, thanks a lot for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. Appreciate everybody that watches the show. Thanks for chatting in, for those of you who chatted in. It's been fun. It's always great talking Star Wars with you guys. So until Friday, I have to do this on my own because Daryl's not here. May the Force be with you, always.
Head to Head, a Star Wars podcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter @HeadToHeadSW. Submit your questions for our next show. Visit our official website at headtoheadswpodcast.com. Until next time, may the Force be with you, always.